Hey, and welcome to another installment of Catching Up with Chris, Jake, and Sam. I'm Sam.
I'm Chris.
I'm Jake.
And just as promised last week, let's go ahead and start off with discussing, because there's been a lot of Marvel movie news in the last couple weeks, and we haven't really addressed it. So, yeah, let's do that and address it. The first of which being they finally released the first official trailer for the Avengers, Age of Ultron.
It was pretty intense. Sorry, that noise was...
I make that noise all the time.
Yeah. Another noise brought to you by Chris Nolan.
Hey! But yeah, no, it was pretty intense, pretty exciting. You know,
basically everyone's shitting on Iron Man. Like, why the fuck did you make this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks, darker. It looks, James Spader is, when you think evil robot, you think something like HAL 9000, where he's just kind of very mechanical. And like, I'm afraid I can't do that, Dave.
Kind of monotone.
Yeah, but this time he's like, he's got personality. He's quoting Pinocchio. If he doesn't sing and dance while he has that monologue, I'll be only slightly disappointed.
What if the original intention of Ultron was that, for whatever reason, Tony Stark is making animatronics for like Disney World or something like that.
For this Stark Expo.
Yeah. So this one just happens to be like programmed with Pinocchio, and like it just takes the metaphor to heart, and that's why it comes to life.
Yeah, what if all the animatronics in the It's a Small World After All ride just came to life and wanted to kill everybody?
I mean, the main difference between Disney World and Jurassic Park is that when the rides break down, the Pirates of the Caribbean don't try to eat you.
That's Goldblum's law.
Hey.
Yeah, I got the reference. Yeah. Jake, what did you think of the Age of Ultron look?
It looked pretty sweet. I mean, I remember I think the trailer broke when I was working at the comic shop, so people were like coming in like fresh off seeing it and freaking out. And it's funny, out of all of the heroes in the movie, the main thing people were talking about, and rightly so, if you've seen the trailer, and you should. James,
pause this podcast.
James Spader, like it's creepy, like and it gives you goosebumps.
He's a scary robot
when he comes out for the first time, all kind of jagged and walking toward him, and just that. He was the main reason I kept watching The Office when
that's like the worst season of The Office.
Well, I mean, like I didn't know that going into that season.
Sure.
Like he got picked as the boss, and I was like, well, then I will keep watching
it
because I like James Spader. And yes, and that is like probably the worst season of The Office. But yeah, it looked really sweet, and it's funny. So many people have so many theories on what this means. Hawkeye's by himself. It must means he's dead, which I don't know why that.
Wait, Hawkeye's by himself. That means he's
dead? He's separated from most of the trailer. He's by himself, and he's not with the team very often.
Sure.
So that's somehow and.
He's always a lookout guy. That's how they position him in the first Avengers film.
Yeah. He always liked being far away because he can see better at a distance.
Yeah. And I didn't say I came up with a theory. Jesus,
God,
Christ.
Jake.
And the Thor drops his hammer at one point, and Cap's shield is cracked, and it's going dark. Like we've never seen. There's really no humor at all, and outside of kind of the dark humor that James Spader does as Ultron.
Yeah.
In the trailer, at
least.
Yeah,
and that does kind of remind me of the other thing that they did when they released the scene during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like a couple days later. There was a bit of humor in that because it all starts out with them kind of drinking around a table and all like trying to pick up Thor's hammer, and it's really funny. Like you got Iron Man there, or you got Tony Stark there, and he's like trying to pick it up. He's he cracks a joke.
Be able to do it.
Yeah, cracks a joke about like being ruling Asgard, but being fair but cruel. And then like he can't pick it up, so he's like, "Hold on, I'll be right back." And he grabs one of the Iron Man gloves and goes to pick it up, and he still can't do it. So Don Cheadle comes over and tries to help with his War Machine glove, which. That's cool, means that War Machine's going to be kind of teaming up with the Avengers too.
Always love to see those peripheral characters kind of come into it.
Definitely.
I have to say, if I had to make, now we're talking theories, if I had to make any theories, because they kind of hint at it in the in that scene, I think in the climax, after his shield breaks, Cap's going to take the shield because he's picked it up, or take Thor's,
the hammer.
Yeah, because he's done it before in the comics. Pick up the hammer and like lay the smack down.
Yeah, I think, I think one of the things that seeing the hammer fall is supposed to imply is that maybe at some, especially with that scene also taking place in the movie, maybe at one point Thor again loses
his worthiness.
Yeah, it loses his worthiness, and he no longer can pick up the hammer.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of interesting stuff out there.
And sorry to go back to that scene when Cap grabs the hammer, it wiggles. It wiggles.
It does. He's the closest it gets. Like I said, he's picked it up in the comics. Unlike the comics, though, for any of you who don't know, there is a comic out there, and I'm sure you'll probably see a lot of people kind of coming in the shop for it, Jake, looking for. There's a comic that came out called Age of Ultron,
and it's terrible.
It's not one of my favorite Marvel events. My big problem with Marvel events is they start out really well.
They start out with an awesome concept.
Yeah, they slam bang. My problem is for some of them they can't stick the landing, and that's how I kind of felt about Age of Ultron.
Yeah, for me, reading Age of Ultron, I felt like the only good issue was the first issue.
Yeah,
the setup was really cool, and then by the end, I want to say the start of the second issue, like it jumps like 10 years into the future or something like that.
No. That's every issue of those first few issues takes place in the Ultron future, or in the Ultron devastated planet Earth.
Well, even worse.
Yeah, you never see how Ultron takes over.
Okay. So then never mind. I take it back. The entire run was terrible
because you wanted to see it.
I in hindsight, I get like Age of Ultron implies like, oh, it's just the Ultron, own thing, kind of like the Age of Apocalypse. It doesn't actually include, the killing of, Professor X back in the day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like.
The X-Men just wake up, and it happens to be a future ruled by Apocalypse.
But if I remember correctly, when they did that, like all the X titles had been like canceled for like a month or something like that.
They were all kind of like replaced.
Yeah. It was actually like a big event. This one just kind of I wish I could have seen a build up to it.
Yeah,
I wish I could have seen a junk heap Ultron coming over and being like
quoting Pinocchio.
I have no strings to hold me down.
Yeah.
Or whatever the lines are.
I got no strings on me. Yeah,
By the way, that the chorus of children singing that is so eerie.
Yeah, it is it's got a spooky feel to it. There's, for something that's only like 2.5 minutes long, there's a lot of good juicy material to kind of chew on for the next 6 months. Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying, Age of Ultron, the comic book, doesn't really relate to the movie.
Oh no, we've had to shoo people away from that. Like when the trailer dropped, so many people would come in and ask for Age of Ultron, and we'd have to say like, "Hey, just so you know, this has nothing to do with the movie. Like, it's the name." And there's a couple of people who like
kind of the character
didn't grasp it at all. They're like, "Yeah, but you have Age of Ultron." I'm like, "Yes, but it's not what you're looking for. If you're looking for what you think the movie's going to be, that's not it.
These are not the Ultrons you're looking for."
Yeah, the Age of Ultron, the comic book, deals a lot with X-Men and Spider-Man, who are not properties owned by the Marvel MCU.
I mean, the two main characters are, interestingly, Wolverine and the Invisible Woman, who both belong to Fox, cinematically speaking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like the classic 70s and 80s stories that, Kurt Busiek writes a nice story with Ultron. And George Perez does the art. That's a fantastic. If you're looking for an Ultron story, that's a fantastic Ultron story to kind of go to. I'm kind of hoping they do with the comics where Ultron beams his consciousness into space and fights the Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm-hmm. That would be cool, for a Guardians sequel. Though I feel like Guardians is going to focus more on like Peter Quill's secret origins that they hint at the end of the movie Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, this is just idle speculation on my part. But in terms of, there's some stuff I don't have to idly speculate about because also, not only did we get the first official trailer for Age of Ultron, we also know every single Marvel film from now until the end of, maybe not the end, they might be, who fucking knows, they probably have other movies planned for 2019, but from now through 2019.
Here's the interesting thing.
Through May of 2019.
Right.
I saw this article where they were talking about, it was done in a kind of like comedic way, but with all the announcement of all the movies, was why should we give a shit about Avengers 2? Because we already know that any outcome of that doesn't matter because they're already, it's already, they're going to be doing the Infinity War, or, so it's like the guy's rationale was, What if when we saw the first Iron Man movie in 2008, we already knew every movie that was coming after it?
Mm-hmm.
Is DC and Marvel accidentally not really spoiling because but like kind of lessening some of the punch of these movies by giving away all these movies that aren't even going to be out for another 5 years?
That's kind of what I was talking about last week when I was bitching about how I hate spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go through the list of the movies coming out. So I can kind of like explain, what Jake is talking about and kind of where I was coming from. So right after, Age of Ultron, first movie out of the gate after that is, I'm sorry. Okay, it's not on the list, so I forgot. Sam had to remind me. Ant-Man. So, okay, fine. Second movie right out of the gate after Age of Ultron is Captain America. Serpent Society?
No, that was the joke title.
Yeah.
Okay.
Civil War.
Civil Wars. Because they wanted, because Civil War had leaked, if you remember, when Downey was talking about re-signing on as Iron Man. And so at the press conference, they were like, Serpent Society, and everybody in the audience was like, what? And then now I feel like I'm the only person that actually wants to see a Captain America versus the Serpent Society movie. So poo-poo on me. But yeah, it's actually Civil War.
But right off the bat, we know that Captain America lives through Age of Ultron, and apparently Iron Man as well, because he's going to be. I mean, if you know the story of Civil War in the comics, it's basically Cap versus Iron Man, and then Doctor Strange after that, and we can talk about that in a little bit. And then Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we all knew that there was going to be a sequel to that. It was great. And then right after Guardians 2, Thor Ragnarok. So okay,
Ragnarok and roll.
Yeah. By the way, Loki Ragnarok and Roll, great little indie comic by Boom Studios. Eric Esquivel, who wrote it, he's a cool guy. We talk on Twitter every once in a while. Go buy it. It's only 4 issues long, so, and it's in trade form now. But, so Loki Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok is slated right after Guardians 2. So, okay, now apparently Thor has made it through Age of Ultron as well. So that's 3 members of the Avengers that we know for sure have made it through already.
Yeah.
And then there's Black Panther, so cool. Another smaller character like Doctor Strange is getting a movie. Awesome. And then part 1 of Avengers Infinity War comes out later, so we know that there's going to be another Avengers movie. Now, they could throw a curveball, and maybe Cap, Iron Man, and Thor are the only ones to survive the Age of Ultron, and the next, the third Avengers movie is going to be more or less a completely new team. That's fine.
Yeah. Hawkeye, Hulk, Black Widow, War Machine, and Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver don't make it.
Yeah, and maybe Bucky too.
Yeah, maybe Bucky, maybe the Vision. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe they introduce him.
I was
kind of
bummed they didn't have any Vision stuff in the trailer.
Yeah,
I was looking forward to seeing a shot.
I feel like Vision's going to be the big twist.
Yeah.
Well,
the big twist that everyone knows about.
You'll believe an android, you can cry.
And dreams of electric sheep. Mm-hmm. And then we have Captain Marvel, the Inhumans. So now Jake's really excited about that.
Before I even saw that it was official.
4 years.
Yeah, Sam was. I found out through Sam because he sent me a tweet that was basically like Inhumans is official. Jake must be shitting bricks right now, and that popped up, and I didn't realize the Marvel thing was going on. I was like, what the fuck? And I went on. I was like checking Google, and it was so like new that it wasn't even on Google yet. I was like, and then like
Sam Stone is faster than Google.
That's right. And then a couple seconds later, it was everywhere, and I was like, Inhumans. Everyone was like, and I'm excited for all of them. And let me just say right off the bat, I don't care that they've announced all the movies before. That doesn't spoil anything for me. Like, I'm super psyched.
I just like I like the idea of, for me, like when DC and Marvel announced their full-on slates. I love, for me, fans win when they build into anticipation that early.
Yeah, like I'm psyched. I mean, it's funny that The Rock is, in the article they were like, The Rock basically is being paid millions of dollars to sign a piece of paper and do nothing for like 3 years. Like he's just the Black Adam.
Yeah.
But like, good for him. And I'm looking forward to that movie, like super hardcore.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I too appreciate the whole building anticipation thing, and like I agree that like being like, hey guys, we have these movies set to go out, but as a storyteller, I think it would have just been better to wait until after Age of Ultron to announce all of these movies.
Honestly,
mainly because you have the Cap and you have Thor. I think everyone knew that there was going to be, the Infinity something whether it was
Yeah.
Gauntlet or War or whatever, like
Crusade.
because they hinted at it as early as the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Arguably, they hinted at it as early as Thor,
With the
because the Tesseract is supposedly one of the gems.
the cosmic cube.
Yeah. So
And if you look very closely in the armory sequence, you can see it's like a blink and you miss it thing. When they're walking through the armory, you can see a shot of the Infinity Gauntlet.
yeah, so technically they've been hinting at that, but that's the way that I want these long-term things revealed. Like, I like hints. I don't like this is too much. I think.
Honest to God, I think the only reason they revealed their full slate before Age of Ultron is because DC did it.
Yeah.
Because Warner Brothers was like, okay, we're going to do all these Justice League films, and you're going to see Ezra Miller as the Flash, and all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same with Ezra Miller as the Rock. He's getting. I mean, it said that that Ezra's going to get a thing in the Justice League movie, but otherwise, no Flash until 2018.
Yeah, I mean, there's a rumor that he's got a cameo in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, but obviously we won't know until
2016.
another year and a half.
Yeah,
Unless he shows up in the trailer before then. Warner Brothers like, hey, look, it's all the Justice League and in this trailer, and then Chris is just cursing at the heavens.
I hate you all.
Yeah, we can hear him screaming from his house.
Yeah.
But
we all go see The Hobbit together just to see the trailer for
Yeah.
Batman vs Superman.
If that's the case, I will do that again. I will sit through The
Yeah.
Hobbit, but I will not have it fucking ruined because the last time.
well,
I
we should tell him the story
I
behind
still
it.
Yeah, that's what I
haven't, I
said I'm
still
going to.
haven't seen Desolation of Smaug though.
I have it, but
Yeah.
anyway,
I mean,
I,
I have it, it's on my DVR. It's
Yeah.
been on my DVR for 4 months.
yeah.
many years ago.
Many moons.
Yeah,
many moons.
I was going to say many moons. But I was like, Sam will probably say that.
And he did.
It was like we were going to go to the midnight show, and I think times were messed up or whatever. And by the time we got there, it was sold out, so we went to the 12:15 show of the first Hobbit movie.
Yes.
And the main reason I went, I enjoyed the Lord of the Rings movies. I've never read any of the books, but I enjoyed enjoy the Lord of the Rings films. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll definitely see the Hobbit. And I was looking forward, mostly in talking about the film, Andy Serkis as Gollum again, and the Riddles in the Dark sequence, which was the tits. That was awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
But the main reason, because I'm insane, to see it was because the Man of Steel trailer was supposed to drop at the midnight showing. And so I'm sitting there, and the first trailer, I'm like, it's not going to be the first trailer. Second trailer goes by, it's got to be the last trailer. And I'm watching trailer after trailer after trailer, and then the lights go dim, dark, and then the companies start to roll, production companies, and I was like, it was so ridiculous how upset I was. I was like, we're not going to see the fucking man. Now I got to sit through. I was just like, now we got to sit through this
I'm
movie.
going to be here for another 5 hours.
Now I got to watch
fucking Peter Jackson Hobbit movie.
Now I got to watch these fucking hobbits sing, and all this other. Oh shit! I just kicked the mic into my mouth.
You just made everyone deaf for one word.
So so I was, I was kind of just flustered. But anyways, the rumor is that the Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is supposed to be attached to.
Yeah, first teaser trailer attached to the Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
Battle of Five Armies.
I hope it doesn't spoil beforehand, because the Man of Steel trailer.
I'm
I think,
sure it will.
Yeah.
Fucking piece of
and then I
shit.
remember I went home that night and I was like, "Fuck this," and just watched it, because I was like, "This is stupid."
You were holding out.
I was holding out. I was holding out.
And then,
So the rumor is they're supposed to be hopefully having that before the Hobbit. If that's the case, I will go to another midnight show. Hopefully not having that happen again. And another one real quick, funny. I don't even know if you remember this, Sam.
Okay.
We were at Old Shabine when the final Man of Steel trailer dropped. The
yeah.
full-on 6 to midnight kind of Man of Steel trailer. And the commentary for it was so huge and so massive that I didn't have an iPhone. None of us had an iPhone. Any of the people were hanging
you
out
still had
with.
a flip phone, I think, at that point.
And so Sam and I watched on the tiny little, look at the palm of your hand, and I don't know, the very middle of the palm of your hand, it was the size of the screen. Unless you have ginormous hands, then good for you. But we watched the pixelated with no sound, and we watched the Man of Steel trailer.
It took forever for that.
It took forever to load, and but it didn't matter when it ended. We were like, "Oh fuck yeah!"
Yeah,
because it was pretty cool. It was a pretty freaking cool trailer.
It's a very well put. Yeah, I mean, Zack Snyder films always look great.
Yeah,
They always look fantastic.
And they're saying that I think rightly so. Wait, maybe rightly so. It's going to be a Batman heavy trailer to get more Batman people going. You know?
Rightfully so.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said rightfully so because like I wanted a Man of Steel sequel first. But
And
That's
not like
what-
you actually know.
That's one of the
I
interesting
don't.
things I found about the when Warner Brothers announced their DC Comics slate. There is no standalone Superman sequel.
yeah, I mean they were saying before they announced their slate that there was going to be one in 2018. Like that was the plan.
Yeah,
And
they
but-
might-
Superman
yeah.
lives.
they might still pencil it in.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
hopefully, maybe someday.
We'll see. I want that. I want the Superman sequel, but like
Yeah, I don't want
now
him to
it's
just
gonna
be a
be-
supporting character in
I-
an ensemble movie.
I still wanted him to be by himself. Like, have Batman show up in the post-credit scene or something, but I still wanted a universe.
Have the bat gauntlet glove come up from the ground and pull the Superman S shield down
Into hell?
into hell while laughing.
Yeah. But I still wanted a universe where Superman was still
as Dean Cain
at it by himself. You know what I mean? Someone was saying because they're talking, DC is supposed to be doing the multiverse because we can get the TV version, the TV universe, the movie universe, and someone.
I just hope that isn't a hot air. Like, I just hope they're like, oh, that's why they exist.
Yeah,
they're never going to
yeah.
cross over,
Right.
but it's a multiverse.
I don't think. I don't.
It would be pretty cool for like Stephen Amell to pop into the Justice League sequel.
A Crisis on Infinite
I
Earth
think they're
sequel.
gonna. I mean, when Jeff Johns says the word multiverse in an interview, he's not. I don't think he's just blowing hot air. Like I think they have a plan. Hell, the Flash TV show teases Crisis on Infinite Earths, like already.
It does, yeah.
Which is fucking huge. But and hopefully a while till we get there because that's kind of like a restart button.
Yeah. That's where Barry Allen.
Maybe that's the the inklings, the drops in the well of the first hints at the Crisis on Infinite Earths movie in 10 years.
Yeah, it'd be so cool.
But
It would be pretty cool, especially if they were able to keep the show going long enough.
For 10 years.
CW loves to keep if they're critically acclaimed, they'll keep them going.
Look at Supernatural.
Look at Smallville.
Oh God,
Yeah.
fucking Supernatural. I could go on about Supernatural. Like I still watch it, but
There's a very clear ending.
yeah,
Like 5 seasons ago.
Season 5 was supposed to be the end, and then like last day of production, CW is like, we want 3 more seasons or something like that. Like it's doing really well. Fangirls love it. Here's
Jennifer Souther loves it.
yeah, and I hope you still listen to our show, Jen. But here's a truckload of money for each of you. So they were like, okay, let's just finish what we were shooting today, and then we're going to tack on a half-assed, but no one's really dead, kind of thing. Because like that was the end of season 5. Almost everyone died. Very
It's the
definitively.
It's the apocalypse.
It's the apocalypse. And then at the last minute, they're like, oh, but Sam and Dean are still alive. And then, like, first episode of season 6, Cass is alive again out of nowhere. And it's not really ever explained as to why any of them are alive still.
Yeah. There you have it.
And then Agent Skinner is their dad.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Or their uncle.
Multiple seasons later, still going strong. But yeah, you were saying, Jake, about multiverses and flashes and
Oh, someone was like, wouldn't that be so cool if like if that becomes a thing and we have some of the TV guys show up in the movies and
And then Kevin Conroy's there.
oh yeah.
well they shatter the universes at one point and
Yeah.
you get Tom Welling Superman shows up or Michael Keaton Batman is still around or you know what I mean, like that'd be kind of cool.
Or then you have Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, and George Clooney
bring them
duking
all
it
back.
out.
Bring them all back.
That would be great.
no,
Yeah.
playing,
I'd be
they're
okay
they're
with
sitting around smoking a cigar like playing poker.
yeah. Or whatever.
Well, and also
And Dean Cain's there, and
I haven't seen. None of us have seen it yet, but like Birdman, is getting Oscar hype for Michael Keaton, and I was like, man, wouldn't that be so cool if like Batman wins a Best Actor? And I was like, wait, George Clooney's won it, Ben Affleck's won it, Christian Bale has won it. Like it would, it'd be like the most of any comic superhero has ever had the most Oscars in the Batcave.
No Superman
No,
actors have ever won it.
no.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. But I was thinking about it, I was like, wait. And then I was like, because Michael Keaton would be like, no, he wouldn't be the first. He wouldn't be the second. He wouldn't be the third. Like,
Yeah.
I still hope he wins.
Yeah. Downey Jr. was nominated for Chaplin
Yeah, that's right.
and
That's such a
Tropic
good
Thunder.
movie.
And Tropic Thunder, yeah.
Yeah. For best supporting.
Mm-hmm.
I love Chaplin.
Chaplin was
It's
great.
a really good movie.
I mean, he's a good actor
Yeah,
too.
got him
but
the
I'm just-
BAFTA. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's Now, I would say the biggest surprise, going back to Marvel's movie slate, I think the biggest surprise for me personally was, and this is by no means a complaint because I love it, a Captain Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Starring Carol Danvers. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. Have they announced who Carol Danvers is going to be?
Just all rumors and speculation.
I'm pro Katie Sackhoff.
Katie Sackhoff would be good.
That's the biggest rumor that I've heard, and I don't think there's any validity to it at all. I think it's just fanboys going, she looks just like Carol Danvers.
I think, Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica would be good. I also think Yvonne Strahovski from Chuck would be good. Kind of this, really kick-ass, female, because obviously Carol Danvers is a kick-ass female. Yeah, I think
I've heard Jessica Chastain has already talked about no, because people brought it up to her, what about you being Miss Marvel?
Yeah,
and she kicks ass too.
Yeah. The big rumor of the only confirmed casting at the press event was Chad. Is it Boseman or Boswick?
Boswick. I think.
Boswick, yeah, the guy that played Jackie Robinson in 42,
and James Brown.
And You Get On Up is with Dan Aykroyd. Just because I love to mention Dan Aykroyd. He's cast as T'Challa, the Black Panther.
That concept art is awesome.
He looks great. He looks awesome. The big rumor is that, and apparently he's still negotiating his contract. This could change. But apparently Benedict Cumberbatch is being approached by Marvel to play Doctor Strange. What do you guys...
Cue my groan.
Do you just not like Benedict Cumberbatch?
No, I'm a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch, but I am not a fan of his oversaturation at this point. I really like him as Sherlock. I didn't...
Even in the weak season 3.
Well, it'd be funny if he gets cast, you'd have 2 Sherlocks in the Marvel Universe. Because him and Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if they trade notes.
But I'm just I feel like he's being thrown into roles that he doesn't necessarily fit just because it's Benedict Cumberbatch, and understandably that they want to get a big name that people are going to rally behind, and Benedict Cumberbatch is right next to Robert Downey Jr. in terms of fangirls and shit like that.
I feel like the only other time they kind of threw him into a role like that would be as Khan in Star Trek Into Darkness.
No, I mean that's the big one that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, which is to be fair, a big example.
Yeah,
I mean it's not by no means a small role.
Yeah, but I mean and also unlike you two, I'm on Tumblr a lot, and he huge.
Owns Tumblr.
He does. It's like him and cats and Supernatural.
If there's is there a Tumblr picture of him with a cat?
I'm sure there is.
I
don't search for it because I am not a Cumberbatch. I'm not a Cumberbitch.
It would crash the internet.
Yeah,
it would crash the internet.
Standing next to Dean and Sam Winchester.
Yeah. I love Cumberbatch. He was great in Warhorse. I love Sherlock.
That new movie he's got coming out about the
where he's Alan Turing.
Yeah.
It's
really good.
He was probably the best part of The Fifth Estate.
Never saw it.
Which, to be fair, was a pretty not that great movie.
Which is a shame because that I really wanted that to be a really good movie.
Oh yeah, it would have been one of the most seminal, most topical. I feel pieces of our time.
Because I'm pro discussing.
Transparency?
I'm pro transparency and I'm pro discussing WikiLeaks. Now I'm kind of on the fence on whether I'm pro or anti. WikiLeaks as the specific institution that is WikiLeaks.
Sure. Some stuff needs to be secure.
Well, not even to that point, but just I watched a documentary on what's his name, the guy that Benedict played.
Oh, Julian.
Julian Moss.
Assange.
Assange. Yeah, I watched a documentary on him, and he's pro transparency. To almost the point where it borders on promoting almost terroristic attacks.
Yeah, nobody can have private accounts anymore.
Yeah, but then you turn the tables on him and ask him for transparency, and he suddenly becomes a hermit. And
hides out in the Ecuadorian embassy.
and demands privacy for his for him. And I'm no, if you're gonna be a dick about transparency like that, then you need to hold yourself to the same
standard
level of accountability.
Yeah.
That you can't you can't
pick and choose.
If you are the law, then you are not above the law.
Yeah, Judge Dredd's never above the law.
Exactly. That's why he willingly goes to jail when he's Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd, even though he knows he did nothing wrong, because the law is shows that he did.
Yeah.
The evidence is there.
Damn, I never thought we'd reference Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd.
It's my favorite Judge Dredd.
That does not surprise. That doesn't surprise me at all.
To be fair, I did say he's my favorite Judge Dredd, not my favorite Dredd. Get it? Movie title, Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Now what? Okay.
Although,
which film do you prefer?
It's tough because I really
because Chris likes shitty movies.
Because I really like Judge Dredd.
I'm not saying I don't. Yeah, I enjoy Judge Dredd.
I thought that Dredd was a very good movie, and from what I know of the Judge Dredd character, it was much more accurate to the source material.
Yeah, you never see his face.
I was just talking to
that being the big thing.
I was talking to an artist and a writer
but I do love Judge Dredd
on Twitter. And he was talking about why does Judge Dredd get so much shit? The '95 Dredd movie, and I was like, you know what? I don't hate that movie either, man. Like it does get shit on a lot, and I feel like people don't read a lot of Dredd, and two, they don't read a lot of early Dredd, and the '95 Dredd, Stallone Dredd, we'll call it. That movie captures the early Dredd, tongue-in-cheek, dark humor kind of stuff pretty well. And the outfits, I mean, they did the best they could. The codpiece is one thing, but they actually have
Paul Stanley platform shoes.
Yeah. Oh God. But the Lawmaster looks really good. When he rides in on it, and the helmet and the giant eagle shoulder pads and stuff. And of course, the big no-no, and people are gonna think it's stupid. You can't take his helmet off. You just can't, because once it does that, it becomes like Demolition Man 2. You can't do that.
Which Demolition Man was also a great movie.
That's a good movie. Yeah, but basically you take the helmet off.
The video game.
And it's one of those things where it's like, well, we want to show the star, and again, this comes back to a thing for a long time for me dealing with superhero movies and the superheroes taking their masks off. I don't know if it's an actor thing or if it's a director thing.
You really like movies where people wear masks,
yes,
Eyes Wide Shut.
That's true, but here's the thing. How many times in The Amazing Spider-Man does Parker take off his mask? It's unbelievable.
In the first one, sure.
The first one, the second one does a pretty good job. It really does. He only takes it off at certain points when it makes sense. And then the Avengers poster is all of them in a circle, and Cap has his freaking helmet off in battle, so we know it's Robert Downey Jr. And I don't know if it's an actor thing or not Cap, Iron Man takes his helmet off. And then I'm looking at the cover to Captain America: The First Avenger, totally has his helmet off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's part of the fun I would think of playing a superhero, it's part of the challenge, is acting behind the mask and emoting with it. And so taking the mask off every couple, it just seems like they always have their helmet off. And whenever someone has to talk in one of these movies, Cap's, or Iron Man, I keep saying fucking Cap. Iron Man's helmet has to open up so we can talk. In the first Iron Man movie, Iron Mongrel or whatever, got to open his, in Whiplash and Iron Man 2 has to open the mask so we can talk. So that's why I love, Dredd. I mean, just keep the mask on, man. It seems stupid. Huge part of the character.
Now, to backpedal a bit, what do you think of Benedict Cumberbatch as Doc Strange?
I still jokingly wish Keanu Reeves would be.
Me too. No,
not
Strange.
so jokingly.
That's probably the main source of my contention with Cumberbatch being, rumored to be Doctor Strange, is that I would much rather see Keanu Reeves as Doctor Strange.
But, I don't read much Doctor Strange, which is to say I've only read Doctor Strange when he shows up in other books that I'm reading. But I don't know. I'd be fine with it. One of my friends, her favorite character of all time is Doctor Strange, and her least favorite actor of all time is Benedict Cumberbatch. So that kind of sucks for her.
Ouch.
But it's not official yet, I guess.
Otherwise, they would have announced it.
Yeah. So
there's still time for Keanu to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, Keanu's already got the goatee, man.
He does.
And he kicked ass in John Wick.
He did.
Which I believe we discussed at length.
Also, real quick, just a quick shout out. The guy I was talking to on Twitter is a guy named Richard C. Meyer.
Oh, he's great. I follow him too.
He's a guy who does every day he does a free sketch. He'll draw if you he'll be like, hey guys, what do you want to draw? Send me a tweet, and if he picks your tweet, he'll draw it for you. And he did it for me. I had asked him to draw the Phantom once, and he did it. The first time I ever asked him to do Black Bolt, and he favored it, and which is kind of almost next time, But yeah, it's really cool, and he's a really great artist. He did a book, I think it's pronounced Chosen, Chosin, that we carry in our shop. But he's a really cool guy. He's the guy I was talking about Dredd. We had a great conversation about, we still have a soft spot in our heart for the 95 Dredd. One, because I love Stallone. And it's a fun movie. And I actually love the way they portray Mega City 1 in that one, actually. There's some cool fights in it. Double whammy. I don't know about the double whammy, but, it's funny. Anyway, check him out. He's cool on Twitter. Nice comic guy. Easy, accessible comic writer, and guy to talk to.
That's cool.
Yeah, he did a sketch of Power Girl for me a couple weeks ago because
nice.
I won the raffle.
Nice.
The first time I entered the raffle, I was like Deadpool and make it sexy, and he favored it because I think he just favorites everyone who enters to kind of like acknowledge I see that you entered, but he not only did he favorite, but he responded to me and he was like, what the fuck? And I was like, put him in a French maid outfit or something like that, like over his costume.
Yeah.
I
have him cup his balls. Yeah. It sounds like then the more obscure the character, the more likely he is to
I think
try.
he really likes drawing obscure characters. And I think because we were watching The Phantom, Sam and I were watching The Phantom, I was like, dude, what? I'm checking out The Phantom, it's a great character. So I think I think any artist really enjoys, the idea of like, hey, even if I don't know the character that well, because not everyone knows the Phantom, although it's selling pretty well. First issue's out, Peter David. It's a pretty good issue. It's really fucking badass. And I'm assuming he knew who the Phantom was because he seems very well versed with comic characters. But to be like, hey, if I don't know who so and so is, let me look him up and I'll draw him and do my own interpretation. It's got to be cool because not every day you get asked to draw Power Girl or the Phantom or a Sexy Deadpool. Although probably a lot more people get asked to draw Sexy Deadpool nowadays.
I feel like I should ask him to draw Phantom Stranger.
Yeah,
do it.
Yeah, it's a good obscure character.
He's got a cool look too.
I always loved his look.
Psycho Pirate.
I've only read, but
I think next raffle I'm going to put in Psycho Pirate.
I've only read but a handful of Phantom Stranger stories, but I always liked the way he looked.
Yeah,
I always thought he looked cool.
I rewatched the Chill the Night episode when
on Batman,
Kevin Conroy plays him, and then the Spectre and him kind of are fighting
Mark
over.
Mark Hamill's the Spectre,
fighting over
Bruce Wayne's soul.
Yeah, Spectre loses hard, but it's still super badass.
It is. Yeah. Well, so to kind of switch gears, but still talk about movies. We have seen a couple movies since last week's podcast, have we? We have indeed. A literal couple, literally two movies in the theater. Actually, yes, Jake saw the same movie, albeit not with you and me, Chris.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those two movies, of course, are Interstellar and Big Hero 6.
Yeah. Now, the interesting thing in my camp about the fact that we saw these two movies, that when they were being publicized, I was like, I know I'm going to see both of these movies. I don't know anything about Big Hero 6. It's another Marvel franchise, although not part of the MCU proper, because it's an animated children's movie.
In the vein of like Frozen,
yeah,
and Wreck-It Ralph, that same kind of animation style.
Yeah, like kind of the Pixar-y DreamWorks.
I think the same director too. Like I think he's done Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, and
I did love Wreck-It Ralph.
John Lasseter,
a hell of a three.
Yeah. But so, as some people, some of our listeners probably know, my name is Chris Nolan, and I'm kind of burnt out on people reminding me that there is a famous Chris Nolan who directs movies like the Dark Knight trilogy and Inception and Insomnia, although people don't usually reference Insomnia, which is funny because it's one of my favorite movies.
It's great
that he did.
The Prestige,
yeah. And the Prestige is probably up there. Before Interstellar is probably my favorite movie of his.
Prestige is fantastic.
But I was kind of burnt out on Chris Nolan, and I was like, I am not excited about this movie. Like I want to see it because it looks good. And for the most part, I really enjoy Chris Nolan's movies, but like I'm not excited. I'm not excited at all. I'm really excited about Big Hero 6 because it looks fun. It looks good. It looks exciting. And I love Baymax. He looks cuddly and cute.
Yeah.
And that's a big selling point for me because I like to cuddle.
Cuddle with giant white squishy robots.
Yeah. What else are you gonna cuddle with?
Cats. Benedict Cumberbatch.
I'm allergic to cats. Sorry,
I'm allergic
ladies.
to Benedict Cumberbatch.
So there we go. Yeah. So we would never be able to coexist on Tumblr.
Yeah. Sorry, Benny. I like your work, but I'm allergic.
That's how I feel about cats. I like looking at pictures of cats. But But yeah, so I had been vocal about this to you guys. I don't know about on the podcast, but I don't think so. I don't think we got to talking about the movies coming out. But yeah, I was like, whatever. I'll see it eventually. You know, you guys were talking about going to see it like opening night, and found out that the Angelica, one of our local theaters here, was had a 35 millimeter print of it instead of the typical digital print. And you were like, let's go. And like 20 minutes before the show, I was like, all right, fine, I'll come. You know, because I was like, I'm going to see it anyway. Might as well see it with my friends. And it's nice to see something on 35 millimeter film for once in the past, 5 years. Because I'm, a purist like that. I like film. I like the of a projector going off in the background. Like it makes me feel like a movie. And I think, I don't know, I like the colors better on film than digitally.
The colors, Chris, the colors.
I'm colorblind, kid.
Oh.
No. Popsicles.
Whoa.
But yeah, so we went and saw it last week, and I gotta say, very quickly, I got sucked into the movie, and I was in it. I was in it to win it.
You were awestruck by the end of it.
Yeah. Well, one of the big things, and Jake, I know, was very excited about this. I am a talker, typically. I fidget, I talk, I lean over to the person next to me, I make funny comments, I get shushed by people, like in the case of when we saw Ghostbusters. I was raised on Mystery Science Theater 3000, so it's okay in my head to make the occasional comment while you're watching a movie. I was silent for almost the entire thing. The only noise I remember making was laughing at a couple of the funny parts, because there were plenty.
Hell, this time I talked more than you did.
Yeah, you talked. You're usually pretty silent. Jake is usually stoic as shit.
Yeah, I just sit there. I'll laugh even if I find something funny. I don't laugh sometimes, but I don't know. I just like being totally silent.
Yeah, but by the end, I almost couldn't move just because I was so sucked in. Like I was just there. I almost had like a religious experience watching Interstellar. It was so good. It was so beautiful. And like everyone left the theater. You guys like had to climb over me.
Because I was nursing a 3-hour piss.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But it like you guys got up and kind of like inched at me, like implying that you were going to leave exit the aisle, and I hadn't moved, and I like kind of like for like a good 10-20 seconds, it like I had to like force myself to scooch my butt all the way back to the seat so you guys could have enough room between my knees and the seat in front of me to scooch past. And then like it took all the way to the end of the credits for me to go, okay, stand. And like I had to like force myself to get up, because like it blew my mind so much, just like how visually beautiful it was, and how interesting of a story it was, and like how surprised I was with like what the actual plot ended up being versus my expectations from the trailer. And hence why a couple days ago I got insulted by a review that I read in the Washington Post.
I mean, their reviews suck. But
They do. Like, so my dad has this tendency to say, save articles that he reads the paper. He's an old man. He reads the paper. He kicks his feet up. He likes a cold beer after work. That kind of shit. He reads the paper, and every once in a while he'll save an article for me to read. And I'm a terrible reader, so I'll usually like skim through it and be like, oh, okay, cool. I see why he wanted me to read that. But it never gets, it's the newspaper. But then he hands this to me, and like I like read through the first paragraph, and it complains about the noise, the sound editing, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And like
I'm looking at your levels.
I know, right? I actually leaned back for that,
and it's still
yeah, and it's still clipped. Sorry, guys, but I tried. I tried to not make you all deaf. But like, so I'm reading through the article, like, and the critic is talking about how people quote unquote people are complaining that like the sound effects and the music are so loud that it drowns out the dialogue. And I was like, in my head, I was like, where the hell are you getting this? I didn't, the mix was fine when I saw it. This is the complaint that I've had for movies for the past 10 years. This is like one of the first times that I haven't had that problem, and so like I get so upset that I actually throw the paper down before I even turn the page to the continuation of the article. And my mom actually picks it up and continues reading it. And she's like, oh my God, they even say like, when they saw it at like Bowtie Cinema or whatever theater, like the critic mentioned it by name in the
Asshole Cinema.
Yeah, Asshole Cinema. Well, like my mom was like, the critic even says the mix sounded fine to them. They're just talking about other people's complaints, and I'm like, why is the critic not using their own review in their review?
Yeah, wouldn't that? Yeah.
Wouldn't
that be a concept?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I'm like, these people are idiots. Either they don't know what they're talking about, or they're at a theater where the center channel is fucked up, because that's where the dialogue typically comes out of, unless they have a really cool surround mix and someone's like off screen, so it's going to come out of the one of the sides or the back corner or something like that. So I was like shaking mad, and my dad was like, okay, let's not talk about this anymore. Actually, honestly, my dad was like, ooh, this week's podcast is going to be cool because Chris is going to just rip this, critic a new one.
Yeah, it's almost as bad as that time that a Washington Post critic called The Dark Knight a pretty boy face-off between Christian Bale and Aaron Eckhart. And
right?
Like, dude, did you fall asleep in the beginning of the movie, wake up for the scene where they have dinner together in like 30 minutes in, and then fall back asleep for the rest of the movie? Because that's not what that movie was at all. Like, that's just...
not even close.
Yeah.
And not to mention, Pretty Boy gets half his face blown off.
Yeah, so he's not so pretty anymore.
Yeah, so
must have only woken up for the parts in the hospital where he had his head still turned.
Yeah.
So that just the pretty face was looking.
Yeah, he's still pretty. I'll keep going.
If
Go back to reading.
If there's a scene where like Batman's
there's been
like,
no character development at all.
Batman's like, not so pretty now, are you, pretty boy? Like while he's
would
in the
have blown
hospital.
that critic's mind.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I knew it. I really dug it. I mean, for me, it was just the ultimate love letter to Arthur C. Clarke, that kind of like really kind of like pseudoscience.
Yeah.
A lot more emotion than say 2001 or A Space Odyssey or 2010, the year we made Contact.
Or in like a year or two, 3001, when Ridley Scott makes that miniseries.
Here's the thing about 3001. How are you going to make a 3001 miniseries which draws so heavily from 2001, 2010, and 2061?
Oh, do they not have 2061 anywhere?
No. That's never been adapted to film.
Well, we'll have to do that before Ridley Scott puts out 3001.
It'll be like the shoddiest, like... Yeah.
We'll just recycle footage from 2001 and 2010.
Something interesting about 2010, it's got John Lithgow, who, of course, has a strong supporting role in Interstellar, which is kind of a nod. I remember Jake was mentioning earlier, he mentioned that somebody had told him that 2010...
Someone came into the shop and was like, yeah, 2010, Interstellar is basically a ripoff of 2010.
Which it isn't, because there's
no Star Child.
Well, it's a space race between the United States, the Soviet Union, and China in that book. I think in the movie it's just the United States and the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And they're like investigating like the black monoliths and the moons of Jupiter in that one, if I remember.
Well, that's 2001.
It's 2000.
2010, Jupiter's become a second sun for the solar system, and it's
because of what happens.
Because of the monoliths. And then, no, I'm sorry. No, you're right. At the end of 2010, Jupiter becomes the second sun.
Based on the Lucifer thing.
Sure.
The Lucifer program. Or whatever, based off of Europa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a million monoliths fly out of Jupiter, and it like basically turns inside out and then becomes a sun.
Yeah, it collapses on itself and becomes a sun.
Yeah. Pseudoscience at its best.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm a big Clark fan.
And you're totally right that it's a big love letter. The writing, like Jonathan Nolan's contribution to the movie is a big love letter to Arthur C. Clarke, and Christopher Nolan's contribution to the movie is a huge love letter to Stanley Kubrick, who directed 2001.
Yeah.
And it's and
more emotion than Kubrick.
Yeah, well, it was a perfect pairing. Like, I hold 2001 on a huge pedestal in my mind as a filmmaker because of how beautiful it is. I will be the first one to say that it is not very accessible at all.
Not a lot happens.
Yeah,
if you think about
one
it.
one of the things that I love to say about it is like it's one of the most beautiful movies that nothing happens in. And to be fair, that's kind of what Kubrick does. Like this is so terrible because I can't remember the name of the movie. But there was a period piece that he did before 2001.
Spartacus?
No.
Paths of Glory.
No.
Oh shit!
I'm
I'm running out of Kubrick.
Yeah. Barty, not Barty. It's a person's name, but it's a period
Nicholas
piece.
Bartleby?
No.
Nicholas Nickleby?
But it's a really cool study in cinematography because it was completely lit by natural light and candles, and it's beautiful, but literally nothing happens in that movie to the point where it's unwatchable. Whereas like 2001 is really cool and fun to watch. And if my voice starts to sound weird, it's because I'm actually looking up what this movie was.
I can just throw in other random Kubrick
Barry
movies.
Lyndon, made in 1975. He actually. Oh, I'm sorry. It was actually after 2001 that he did Barry Lyndon, and then The Shining. I watched a documentary about Kubrick, and it's saying that like 2001 was like his heyday, and then by the time he gets to Barry Lyndon, like he's an artist who's really bored, and like that's why it's like a perfect study in cinematography, a terrible study in storytelling.
He only does like 5 movies after 2001.
Yeah, and then like The Shining is actually his masterpiece because it's like a perfect combination of like storytelling and cinematography.
It's probably my favorite Kubrick.
Yeah,
film.
in terms of his style, like it's probably the best of both worlds. Where he gets it perfect. I know you love Eyes Wide Shut, Jake.
I do.
Second time we've referenced it in this podcast.
It's got a great little score too, like just like the little haunting piano.
Yeah.
Like all the streets of New York are filmed like on a set, a sound stage, so it's really claustrophobic. I love that movie.
Yeah,
it's a movie that I've been meaning to actually like sit down and watch all the way through because like I've gotten hints of it, and like the parts of it that I've seen I really like. From a artistic standpoint.
For lack of a better phrase, the masked orgy scene, like when he goes into the party and witnesses it happen, and they're playing the chanting music in reverse, and everyone's wearing these like great Venetian masks, and it's just the way it's shot, and it's just almost like it's a dream, and Tom Cruise is just walking around and having no idea, and that's just one of the most like it's beautifully haunting scenes that I've ever seen him do. I know there's like some controversy where like supposedly he tried to censor some of it because it's like pretty graphic stuff in the orgy scene, but it's a great performance from Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. They were married at the time. I don't know if that damaged their relationship because
they
it was
divorced pretty.
Yeah, it was a pretty stressful film to do, and their roles in it and the conflict between the two, this married couple is pretty heavy shit. But yeah, I always get weird looks when I say my favorite's Eyes Wide Shut. Not to say that I don't I love The Shining. Like I know, I love Full Metal Jacket. I love Until They Go to the War.
I love the first half. Of Full Metal
I've
Jacket.
never met anyone who's like, man, second half's better. Like the first
half's better.
Ghostbusters 2 is better than Ghostbusters. Come on, guys.
That
Right,
first
Josh?
that first
You know what
half
I'm
of that
talking about.
movie is unreal. Like a Full Metal Jacket. I always want to say Full Metal Alchemist, but like Full Metal Jacket. He never directed an adaptation of the manga Full Metal Alchemist. Probably would have been fucking bananas, to quote Sam, if that was the case.
Now you make me want to see it. But
I would, love to see Stanley Kubrick's Full Metal Alchemist. That would have been amazing, starring Tom Cruise as Ed, and I don't know,
Haley Joel Osment.
No, Shia LaBeouf as Al.
Yeah.
Young Shia LaBeouf, like even Steven Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
The best Shia.
Yeah, and but.
Now, what are your thoughts on Interstellar? Because you haven't really chimed in too much on that one.
Speaking of this,
that was
speaking,
all. That was
well,
all
no,
me.
I could tell how much that movie affected Chris.
Yeah, like totally honestly, like I've never had that kind of response.
Like I've kind of felt like a dick, like getting up and moving, but I was like, everyone was coming our way to like leave.
I just really had to piss.
Yeah,
a lot of people were.
I was like, there's no post-credit scene because supposedly Chris Nolan doesn't like post-credit scenes.
Yeah, no, like
which is fine.
I wasn't expecting anything in the post-credits. I just couldn't. Move.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I could tell in your face.
I think I was just like frozen, like with my hand like just resting on my chin.
That's like, after most movies, I kind of just want to like be quiet for like a minute or two and just kind of think about it. Usually the drive home is usually kind of like where I think about it more and kind of come up with my thoughts and ideas of what I thought the movie was all about, what I liked, what I didn't like, blah blah blah. But speaking of the score of Eyes Wide Shut, take a shot every time we say Eyes Wide Shut. Yeah, I love this score in Interstellar. It's Hans Zimmer outdoing himself, because Hans Zimmer gets a lot of crap for like them saying, "Oh, he's just loud percussion noises and Inception stuff." Although I do love that shit. And just a side note, Inception's still my favorite Christopher Nolan movie. But I think,
and oddly enough, it still gets less appreciated by me every time I see it.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it. I saw the movie so many times. I saw that's a movie, Chris, for me to like put myself in your mindset. I saw Inception opening night in IMAX with my friend Alice, and we sat there the entire we just couldn't move. And then we went to IAP afterwards, and it was raining, and all the rain in the movie, and we ordered a shit ton of food, and we had a really small table, and we were talking about like dreams and entering dreams and stuff, and everyone probably thought we were stoned out of our minds because no one had seen the movie yet because it just came out. And we saw it at Udvar Hazy, like true IMAX.
Yeah,
that was
if you're
astounding.
If you're gonna see a movie in IMAX, you definitely want to go to like
the only way,
Air and Space Museum where they have real IMAX.
Yeah, the only way I'd see Interstellar again. Not saying I didn't like it. I love the movie, but the only way I'd see it again is to see it in Udvar Hazy.
I like how at IHOP afterwards, we all three of us said that we would be interested in taking our dads to it. I think you made it. You made an illusion that your dad probably wouldn't have liked it.
I think there's a certain point where my dad probably would have checked out.
Yeah. But Sam and I were both like, yeah, no, our dads would love this.
I mean, it was my dad that got me into sci-fi. He would always take his favorite museum, and in the immediate area. One of the cool things about living in DC is we all have access to these really cool museums, and most of them are free. And he would always take me to his personal favorite museums, the National Air and Space Museum.
Yeah, no, it's the best.
Yeah, so that's where we'd always go. Yeah,
and I know that my dad would become a big ball of tears because of how great the father-daughter relationship is.
I think.
Yeah. Oh, my dad too. Yeah.
And even if you don't, even any father, it's gonna hit a chord with any fathers of sons or daughters. I mean, I think just the idea of being a father and what it means, making a promise to your kids, and it's. I was trying to come up with it. Like, my joke was that I was too dumb to understand the movie, but I loved it because I don't know all that science stuff. I believe all of it. Just it sounded like they knew what they were doing, and they did their research, and much smarter men than me figuring that stuff out.
I mean, Jonathan Nolan went to school for 4 years to write the...
Supposedly, like, during his 4-year period of writing the script, he studied...
Originally writing it for Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. And I just kept thinking, like, this is a movie where you can tell... And it made sense, because I didn't read this clip, this quote that I'll mention in a second until after, I saw the movie. But I was like, this is a movie about, you can tell clearly, people who love making movies. And Christopher Nolan has this amazing quote that I just read today, because I find him almost more fascinating than his movies, the way he works, his mind, his love for keeping film. He's not one of those, when he's talking about he wants to keep it on film, he's not like, I hate the idea of advancing technology, but I don't understand why we're advancing technology when what we have is better than what we're trying to advance it to. Like that's his point with film and digital.
Yeah, until digital hits that point.
And it's like that's a fucking mic drop right there. Like, yeah, he can't argue that. But he said something basically on the lines, I'm obviously paraphrasing hardcore here, that with movies, what he loves is when he goes in to see a movie, when he pays his money to go to the cinema, as he calls it, and he sits down and watches a movie, even if he doesn't like the movie, if he can see when he's watching the movie, and he must, he has this great mindset into the idea of making movies, obviously, if he can tell that the people making the movie were believing in their heart of hearts that they're making the best movie ever made, he's sold. If he's watching a movie and he doesn't see the passion and the determination to make the best movie possible, that's when he checks out. And he's like, even if I don't,
just like me, I have that same.
Even if he doesn't like the movie, but if he can tell that the people there are passionate, and the one thing you can say with every single Christopher Nolan movie, every single one, 100% passion in all of his movies.
They always swing for the fences.
This guy loves making movies. This must be such a huge deal to him, because this movie just seems like this is one of the big, this is such a grand scale awe movie. Like, I can't think of a movie in recent times.
Yeah, his solo films are better than his Batman films.
I think. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Or at least they have that level of personal passion involved.
Yeah, I mean, and of course the Batman movies are still great, but I can't think of a movie that's like as big as this and as grand as this. And he's really great with people. With Inception was the big movie, outside of the Dark Knight trilogy, where they were saying he's a great example of making art and entertainment one. And it doesn't have to be one or the other. You don't have to shun an audience. The Dark Knight was a great example of bringing comic book lovers together, people love blockbusters, people love crime noir movies, because he was all about
people who worked at Blockbuster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they got me, they got Chris, but it's like, he's for the Dark Knight, he's like, I want to tell a crime story from the perspective of the cops, the vigilante, the bad guys, the rich people, the poor people. So he's always thinking, and he's not just going for the easy movies. So, and I know that Sam and I have been excited for this movie for a long time, ever since I even heard the word Interstellar.
Yeah.
That just captured my attention.
And some people have been shitting on it, and I think a lot of that is because they're comparing it to The Prestige and Inception.
Which you can't do.
They're expecting a similar kind of ending, or the thing about Inception, very creative film, but at the end of the day, Inception's an action movie.
Mm-hmm.
Interstellar isn't an action movie.
No.
It's it's more exploration against the backdrop of emotion and that sort of thing. Or is it emotion in the backdrop of exploration? I'm just being pretentious to be me.
Just being Sam to be Sam.
Yeah, just letting it all hang out, guys.
You're just being Miley.
Yeah. I wear my sunglasses at night. It's I loved it. I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the year, but it's up there. It's one of the greats. And I think it's a movie that'll be more warmly regarded as it stands the test of time.
Yeah, one of the first things that I said upon leaving the theater was that, like, now I know what it felt like to be, in 1960 whatever, 1968. When 2001 came out, and like leaving the theater just like awestruck like that. And naturally, because I have douchey realist friends, this time not you, Sam. The first,
I don't know how realist I am. Certainly douchey.
Well, I mean, like, fact. One of the first responses that I got to that was actually 2001 when it first came out was financial, like, not a success.
It was not, no.
Yeah, and I was like, that's not. I don't mean that it raked in a lot of money. I mean,
not
like,
commercially.
Yeah, I mean, I went to the movie and I was moved. Like, this is how, like, people felt then. Like, and then, like, my dad told me this story about how in, like, the late 70s, early 80s, there was a resurgence movement. People were showing 2001 again, on like one of its anniversaries or something like that.
Just in time for 2010.
Probably.
Yeah,
that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
And he was living in the area at the time. Like, that was shortly after he moved here. And he went and saw it at the State Theater back when it was a movie theater. And he was like, people lined up around the block, man. They're like, people loved that movie. It was beautiful. I remember
coming through the walls, man.
Yeah. Game over, man. Game over.
We're fucked.
But yeah, and I was like, that sounds right.
Yeah, it's a movie that really.
And I'm really excited. There's enough time. If you hear this podcast, like, within the first day or two of when we drop it, and you live in the DC area, AFI Center in Silver Spring, this upcoming weekend. The weekend was it the weekend of the teens? I think it's the 15th.
15th, yeah.
The 15th is the first day. Or no, the 14th, 15th, and the 16th, I believe, are the days. AFI Center is showing 2001 on 70 millimeter, which is basically IMAX Junior, but still better than, like, those IMAX screens at, like, AMC and stuff like that.
Yeah. The light IMAX screens.
Yeah, exactly. Diet IMAX.
Yeah.
Whereas
IMAX 0.
Yeah.
so like AMC has
Tab.
yeah, Tab Max, and then
Rock and roll.
and then the 70 millimeter is like IMAX Cherry.
I have to say, I am. You had brought up seeing.
I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Is basically what I'm saying.
I'm still thinking about it. Honestly, I might. The only reason I didn't is because this past Friday was the first Friday that I had done Friday night karaoke in about a month, and I had forgotten how fun the Friday night crowd is. But you know what? Friday night karaoke's there every week, isn't it?
It is every Friday.
Yeah, I might just say
almost like it's Friday night karaoke.
Yeah, I might just say fuck it and do 2001 with you.
Do it.
Yeah, but
my friend Mike might be coming too.
That's cool.
And if any of you are listening to this and want to meet up with us, I'm definitely going to be there at the one showing on Friday night. If you know what I look like a giant. That's probably going to be the best way to find me. I am very shy and I don't like to talk to strangers, but I might be like, cool, thanks for listening.
Yeah. And if you don't know what
inviting all these strangers to potentially be coming up and talking
But
to
you know what? At least I'm being upfront and letting them know that I'm probably not going to be very good at engaging with them. I can talk to you like this just fine because I'm looking at a microphone and a bunch of levels on a computer screen.
Come meet me at the screening so I can say nothing to you and leave you alone.
Come tell me how much you love me, and I will say thank you, and then politely walk away.
Yeah, pass me off. Pass you off to me.
Yeah, Sam, who is not nearly as shy.
Sam will be in the gimp mask.
Yeah.
And he will tell you about how much better he is than you.
I will ask you how good I look in my assless chaps. The answer, of course, that you should give me is superb.
Yeah, and then we might even hit up Pirates Tavern afterwards because Pirates Tavern is right across the street, and it's the greatest bar in the DC area.
Yeah, certainly Silver Spring.
Faux show. Granted, one of two bars I've been in Silver Spring, but
yeah, but hey,
it's definitely better than that other bar.
Yeah, how many pirate-themed bars are there in Silver Spring?
Yeah. You can take that to the bank.
But
the blood bank.
That's a Steven Seagal reference, by the way, if you don't know that. But the
hard to kill.
Yeah. Some generic Steven Seagal title. Half Past Dead was another one where he's in prison. But I know too much about Steven Seagal. The
Lawman.
Yeah. the movies like Interstellar in 2001. This is gonna sound cliche as all shit, but they're kind of why I go to the movies. It's especially something about space travel. I don't know if if it was my dad taking me to the National Air and Space Museum all those times when I was a kid, or enrolling me in space camp, or introducing me to Star Trek. It's something about the humanity's potential, untapped potential,
which is a big theme in Interstellar.
Yeah, lies in those kind of films. The idea that we're just parts. I mean, you think how expansive the fucking universe is, and we're just like a fucking dot. But we're gonna try to
pale blue dot.
A pale blue dot, to quote Sagan. Yeah, but we're gonna try to see as much of it as we can. We want to, yeah, it's great. There's something. It strikes a chord. Strikes a chord. If I'd probably be sitting in that chair with Chris if I didn't have to piss really, really bad. I shouldn't have drank that vitamin water right before the movie started. But
yeah. But you know what?
Jake pointed out they only had the rare vitamin water.
It's the best kind, strawberry kiwi.
but it is a testament that you didn't get up in the middle of the movie because I'm sure you had to piss for like most of the movie.
I was fidgeting like a motherfucker. I was like, oh,
you were pulling a Chris.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah,
you weren't talking.
I wasn't talking so much.
You did. Well, you said something about.
There's
sex.
a scene where Matthew McConaughey's like going through space, and it's like that's what he sounds like when he's having sex.
Yeah, he's grunting weirdly.
When you see it, you'll know. But
you'll hear Sam say,
"Yeah,
that's what he says when he's having sex."
I
even heard it.
All right.
I even heard you say it. We had Jake between us, but I heard you say it to Jake, and even I was like,
"Yeah,
it was good. It was funny.
It was well timed and accurate.
Yes.
Like even like it was rolling through my head. Had it not been Interstellar, I probably would have said it to Jake too,
and it would have been both at the same time. Yeah. This is what it sounds like when doves cry. This is what it sounds like when McConaughey has sex.
Yeah, but
and then my head would have exploded.
Now, in terms of the other film, because we did see another film.
Oh yeah,
Big Hero 6. Now, Big Hero 6, full disclosure, I haven't actually seen Frozen. The
Me
other,
neither,
Nor have I.
actually. I think we're the three.
We are a panel. We are the three only people in the world.
Yeah, if this room exploded right now, everyone in the world would have technically seen Frozen.
Yeah, which hasn't been like me saying like fuck Frozen.
No, me neither.
No.
Although when I was looking for Captain America on DVD at my parents' place, they own Frozen.
No.
So maybe one day we
Maybe
can
one
screen
day.
Frozen.
Don't lift the veil.
Yeah. Oh, they don't give a fuck.
I don't. Yeah,
They literally don't give a fuck.
I want to know. I want to know. Does anyone who listens to this care about "quote unquote" lifting the veil? Like, I'm sure you are aware that we also do the commentaries. Do you care how early in advance we watch these commentaries,
do you like
even care what order we watch them in?
Or do you even know what the fuck we're talking about?
Or do you like the anticipation, like the Marvel and Warner Brothers slates?
Do any of you actually listen to the commentaries? Because we have not heard from.
We've been seeing downloads, but fuck. I mean,
no one. We aren't getting any quality control from you people.
Yeah, nobody's letting us know if
except people do think that our voices are sexy.
Apparently,
I've gotten that.
Apparently, yeah.
And I have gotten who was it? Corey complimented us on our sound quality.
Yes.
In general, and that
smooth, sexy baritone voice.
Rock and roll. But no, like I took that compliment to heart, because that means a lot to me because I am.
You're the one actually editing and recording this shit.
Exactly, and I come from a standpoint of like I care a lot about the quality here, and I went to a lot of effort. Like I gorilla'd some of this stuff, as you can see, our spit guards or our pop guards, our fuzzy wool socks. Yeah,
I will say my buddy.
Come wintertime, that's gonna suck because these are also my only wool socks.
Yeah, my buddy. We'll get pop guards by then. They're like $3 a pop,
probably.
My buddy Dan, who I've known since kindergarten, finally started listening to the podcast, and he was like, "Hey, I didn't know that the Ghostbusters commentary you had to watch with the film." And I was like, "It says it right. I mean, it's called a commentary, dude." Like, thank you for listening, though. Yeah. So let us know how we do on the commentaries. Let us know because we know what we're gonna do for like a long time.
Yeah, I think we have the slate basically mapped out until 2016.
The end of 2016.
We're like fucking Marvel here.
Yeah. Well, I aspire to their example. One day I'll have it mapped out through the end.
Yeah, but for some reason I have this strange sense of like we're already in the midst of what we're going to be releasing, like almost like
February.
springtime. Yeah, February of 2015. We're recording that tonight. And I'm like, don't tell them. Like last week when we were recording one of the things, we made a reference to Marvel's Agent Carter show, and I was like, oh man, when's that come out? And Sam's like, it already came out because that commentary is being released in February, and Agent Carter starts in January.
It would be one thing if it was like the first time we screwed that up, but we've done it so many times that it's like, why the fuck do we still try?
Or like the Batman stuff that we're releasing now, that was the first stuff that we recorded like back in like August.
Here's a fucking crazy trivia thing. The first commentary we ever did was Batman 66.
I will say,
and we released it last week.
There is a podcast episode where Jake just finally like throws his hands up in the air. He's like, "Fuck it, you know what? We've recorded all the Batman commentaries. We better do the Marvel commentaries."
Like I've never understood like why it mattered.
Back to the Future next April.
Yeah, I never understood why.
I think I had like a little mini mental breakdown, and I was like, "Fine, fuck it.
Yeah, it's all coming. We're doing Mad Max. We're doing Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
we're doing the Power Rangers next year.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff coming, guys. You guys are gonna like. I think honestly,
I'm gonna push for Pee-wee's Big Adventure soon.
Yeah. Maybe it'll be one of your birthday picks in 2016.
Maybe since I already have, since the Back to the Future trilogy is my birthday picks for 2015.
Because they're your favorite movies of all time.
Hell yeah. Take that, Interstellar.
Yeah, but guess what? Big Hero 6. So Big Hero 6.
We do a quick one-word review.
Good.
It was good.
Yeah. Fine.
Because
acceptable.
Yeah, it's a movie that definitely plays it safe, but at the same time, it's a fucking kids movie, guys.
Yeah.
No, I thought it did a great job for its target. Like, we were not the target audience. We're about 10 years older, minimum.
15, probably.
Almost 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm about 20 years older than its target audience. You guys are only a year younger, so about 19 years. But yeah, so it's still very enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
I went into it with an expectation of an entertaining children's movie, That's what I came out with.
And it's a children's movie that doesn't dumb down its content for kids.
Yeah,
No.
it plays it safe plot wise. I agree. Like I will.
There are
I will
twists
say
you
though.
see coming.
I will say though, the reveal of who the bad guy was. I was at first I was like, oh, it's a kids movie. It's totally going to be this guy, because they very immediately paint this one guy as a bad guy, and then
Red herring status.
It's not him.
Yeah, I mean
that long was
Yeah.
a cue to you turn off the thing if you don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah. Again, red herring. It was a pretty obvious red herring.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised that it wasn't just like, hey, this is the bad guy right from the get-go.
It's not like the Adventures of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
But Jake, I
Old
feel
Man
like
Carruthers.
Yeah, I feel like you were the most let down by it.
I mean, it was fun. I mean, I love how they tell stories. And I love the creativity that all the studio does with this animation, and it just gets more and more realistic looking. I mean, like the what's his face, the bad guy. I don't know if it's because he was in black or what, but
you must have had a hard on for that bad guy.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
that was awesome. I was like, he's the good guy.
Mask.
He's the good guy, man. He's gonna kill everyone, right? This movie's gonna get real dark.
People did die.
I wasn't like I wouldn't say disappointed. I remember when the first trailer came out, I was like really psyched for it, and I enjoyed it still. Yeah, enough for that. Me put it on one of my playlists, and then whenever
was
I played
that even
it,
in the movie?
no, but Fall Out Boy was.
Neither was the scene from the trailer with like Baymax going for the soccer ball.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was about to say, the cop scene was in there.
Cop
Yeah,
scene was
yeah.
in there.
With the tape. And
But it's funny,
it was
like
actually quite extended. In the movie.
I saw it pretty late last night. Excuse me, last night. It was like close to 11 o'clock. There's still kids in the theater, and it's always fun to watch when they're in there because it helps you get back to that mindset.
Mhm.
I liked it. I thought I was gonna like it like a little bit more, but it was definitely not disappointing. I didn't I wasn't bummed. I liked it. Like I think you guys were saying like a solid B plus. Yeah, totally. I did want to touch on a movie real quick that I've been obsessed with. That I came across by total accident, which is sometimes the best way to come across a movie. I was looking up, as I do, as I'm a complete psychopath. I type in like best mass performances of all time on Google, and nothing fucking ever comes up. It's always like
the Gimp from Pulp
Fiction. It's like that's not even on there. That would be a change of pace. It brings up like horror icon masks, and it's like, oh, for fuck's sake. And so this one guy actually did. It was like a list of like more of like kind of foreign British films, black and white movies. Mostly almost all pre-1970, pre-1965 even, dealing with masks. And it was like in lieu of the film Frank, starring Michael Fassbender, where he's a musician who wears a mask the whole movie. And I kind of was like, okay, like that's cool. But I was looking for like older stuff, something that, that wasn't made this century. And then I was checking out like the Xbox video on demand, just what to rent, just seeing what was new. And the poster for Frank was there. And the poster for Frank is just the giant paper mache mask that Fassbender wears the movie. And I watched the trailer because whenever you click on it, it shows the trailer, And I don't remember laughing out loud during a trailer that much in a long time. It's just really, really funny. I showed you guys the trailer yesterday, kind of. And I love, again, yes, take a shot for every time I mention how much I love mass performances, but I do because you get the best out of the actors. I think Fassbender's a fantastic actor. Like I've kind of joked, like cast him as Jim Corrigan as the movie Spectre, even though it's already Magneto. But I watched the movie. I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. It came out this year. It was like limited release, and it's one of those movies, 95 minutes long. Not a big investment at all. But it was one of those movies when I finished it, just felt good about life. I just loved everything. Everything was awesome. It was really late at night. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning by the time I finished it. But I was just jazzed. I was like ready. It was right before I was starting my work week, which starts on Wednesday mornings. And I just wanted to watch it again. It's the real quick rundown is Frank is a guy who wears a paper mache mask, giant head actually, and he's this kind of weird mental kind of musician that's the main character stumbles across and becomes part of this band and goes on this journey with them. And Maggie Gyllenhaal is in it. She's really great. I can't remember the actor's name, unfortunately. It's a bummer. the main actor who's the keyboard player, he was the guy with no eyes in Dread who gets him like ripped out and he's like plugged into the server. But
Dom Hall Gleason.
Thank you. Yes. And I think he's in the new Star Wars movie because I saw a really funny interview when they're like the interviewer was being careful not to say Star Wars. And he was like, "You're going to be in a big movie this year, too." And he jokes to like Michael Fassbender. He's like, "Yeah, even bigger than any of your movies." And Fassbender's like, "How big? How big?" And then the end of the thing, he's like, "Do you think your life's going to change?" He's like, "No, I think it'll be the same." He's like, Fassbender's like, "Oh, when you get that first little Star Wars figure of you, it's going to be crazy." And everyone in the interview is like, and he he's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's the movie going to be in Star Wars, right?" And the interview just like fades to black.
Yeah. Right here on his IMDb, it does say Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was a real.
And he's in time with Rachel McAdams. About time.
Yeah,
with Rachel McAdams.
The trailer that I saw every like week.
Attached to every
I
movie.
saw a lot of movies that when that trailer's attached, and I felt like I saw the movie. Anyway, Frank, check it out. You can rent it on like on demand or whatever. It's available on DVD.
I'm looking at it on Amazon. On demand right now, and renting it on HD is $6.99.
Yeah, I think it's still fairly new, but it is.
Oh yeah, and it's still in theaters too.
It's such a fun movie. Fassbender really does give the best performance I've ever seen him do because you wouldn't know it's Michael Fassbender because his voice doesn't give it away. He's got a voice I've never heard him use in any movie before. He sings, has kind of a Jim Morrison thing going on. It's really funny, sweet movie. It's got some dark stuff in it,
and all the music is actually
live.
Actors.
All the music is live.
Like I want to say, like I've actually kind of known about this movie in a more peripheral sense. I can't remember why. I think like it just keeps like the ad for it kept popping up on like internet videos that I was watching for the past couple months. People trying to get buzz up about it because it's a huge indie release, so it doesn't have huge deals with like movie theaters and whatnot. So like they're really pushing watching it on demand and stuff like that. And like I've been like really interested to see it for a while, and then like suddenly you talk about seeing it, and I'm like, oh my god, it's available! I can watch it. So like I actually just added it to my watch list on Amazon. That and Horns, apparently.
Yeah, Horns. It's funny. Horns is the one I almost rented first.
Yeah.
And then I was like, we'll see. And then, because I've heard pretty good things about it.
Yeah.
And I think Daniel Radcliffe's career is really interesting.
Yeah. He was on Conan just the other day, and they showed a clip from it, and I was like, oh, wow, this looks even better than I was anticipating.
Nice.
But a cool thing about the Frank and the band, they were on, like, Colbert Report. Like, I watch At Midnight, which is on right after the Colbert Report. And sometimes Colbert ends the show with a band playing. And on one episode, he had the band from the movie Frank, and it was all the actors actually, like, you know, playing the show. I guess, like, on the show, they had, like, interviewed them about the movie since it was right around the time that it was released, I guess. And they actually performed a song, and it was a good quality song. You know, good quality performance.
It's funky. It's weird. I mean, it's all about them writing this album where they like spend months and months and months perfecting a note, and then, Frank talks about how. My quick thing was like it was like 95 minutes of just being inspired because it's Frank. It's like you can be inspired.
Which for those playing at home, this show has gone on for about 95 minutes.
Has it really?
Yeah.
Dang.
We're right around the hour and a half mark right now.
Well, let me wrap it up because this is a long one.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out
your cats.
Check out Frank. It's a good one.
Check out Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Check out Interstellar in IMAX.
Check out Wes Craven's Swamp Thing.
We're all gonna go watch Interstellar a second time in IMAX, in Baymax.
I want to go. Yeah, Baymax meets the TARS.
We're all gonna go to Udvar Hazy.
Yeah, like I said, I want to take my dad to see it.
Yeah.
But
my dad would love it. We actually already have plans to go see it this week because he has the day off in the middle of the week.
Nice. But so check it out, guys, and
go watch Swamp Thing.
Wes Craven's Swamp Thing. I've never seen it, but just go watch it
and the TV series that apparently is
and watch the
based on
sequel,
well.
Return of Swamp.
You know
Thing.
what? You know what? Why don't you watch that movie D-War, Dragon War, about the dragons?
You know what you should do? You should watch all the movies that we've released commentaries for and listen to our commentaries.
And actually let us know.
Yeah. Holler at us.
Holler at your
Tweet
boys.
us. Our Twitter is Geek Out Podcast. You can find us on Facebook by searching Geek Out Show.
I'm at Sam Stone Show.
I'm at E.G. Nolan.
I'm at Jake Bozick.
And I can go ahead and, sorry for talking over spelling, but I can go ahead and post those links on our Facebook if you want to talk to us individually, or on the Twitter if you want to talk to us individually.
You'll find we're quite thrilling, even sexual at times.
Especially Sam.
But yeah, so
it should be it should be at Sam Stone X-rated show.
Yeah.
Or XXX show, because that'd be fewer characters.
I never specify. But the yeah, so and of course, hang out with us at 2001: A Space Odyssey, AFI.
Yeah.
In Silver Spring, Friday, 9:45.
Totes.
But so this has been another installment of Catching Up with Chris, Jake, and Sam. Those are your opportunities to catch up with Chris, Jake, or Sam. So we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Good night, Eric Bana.